So Freeway Rick, tell me, man, how does criminal enterprise get started?
What I did is I picked the wrong person to teach me.
Okay.
And that's what's happening with a lot of kids today, is the only mistake they're really making because they sharp. But they going to the wrong guys, asking them, how do I get out of the ghetto? If you go to the drug dealer and ask him how to make money, he's going to show you what he knows, how to sell drugs. Because that's what he believes, how to make money. So I was willing to die for the drug game. I was willing to die for it, I was willing to kill for it. So I'm just as passionate about this here.
Okay.
You know, I didn't mind going to prison. And going to prison was just part of the job. Really what I'm looking for this story, man, is to really set the drug game straight. You know, I want to lay it all out, what the dope game it really is, what it's not, you know, what you can expect if you get in a drug game. A lot of times they're not giving us the whole truth. You know, they're just giving us a piece of it. Like my partner didn't tell me that I was going to be looking at a life sentence one day. What you believe is not what it really is. It's a trap from the start.
This is Brandon Brooks with the Los Angeles Sentinel newspaper, assistant editor, also co-managing editor of the LA Watts Times newspaper. We'll just jump right on into it to give people a background a little bit that don't know the story about you. Why don't you tell me how Ricky Darnell Ross became Freeway Rick and, you know, kind of started living his life, became Freeway Rick. Who was Freeway Rick?
I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, Figueroa in '87. My father was never there. My father and my mom separated when I was 4 months old, so my mom raised me. My mom worked, you know, basically when I got out of school, she was going to work. So I was at home most of the time with me and my younger brothers and sisters. Started playing football in the street with the older guys. When she leave, we go out and play football in the middle of the streets with the guys, hang out. Going to school wasn't really important to us at that time. You know, we didn't have an understanding of the value that it was going to bring us. So my mom was a good person, you know, a good Christian person. We went to church every Sunday, just about, you know, maybe miss some Sundays, but very rarely miss church on Sundays.
So you were a young youth living in South Los Angeles, you know, sounds like living for a young black youth at that time, a normal life. You tell me about the next stage of how you progressed. I think you were doing some small work and some things weren't making too much money, and then I know, and well, I guess the next question, how did your life change, I think, when you ultimately met the individual that connected you, I think, Oscar?
Well, what happened is after I didn't go to college, I went back to South Central. I started hanging out with my brothers, and my brothers gangbang.
Okay.
My younger brothers all gangbang.
Okay.
My younger sister, they all gangbang.
Okay.
I didn't gangbang because I started playing tennis.
Okay.
But at one time, I wanted to gangbang.
Okay. But you were obviously heavily affiliated and your whole thing.
Yeah, I knew everybody from the neighborhood, but I never considered myself a gangman.
Yeah, as many people, when you live in the environment, you're just, you know, it's your environment.
Right. And, so when I go back to the neighborhood, now I'm hanging with them and I'm starting to do more of the things that they do. You know, go to the lowrider, jumps, the hops, back to the football games and on the block. You know, they having, you know, grown-ups playing football in the park and you know, they're drinking and smoking weed and, you know, just in this whole little pot that I had been out of from tennis. You know, tennis had kind of like kept me out of it. So now I'm back into this, and now I'm starting to hear this stuff about cocaine. You know, it's starting to run through my mind, and I'm getting really interested. And then just one day, one of the guys that I had met through that situation came back from San Jose State University, and he had some cocaine, and he introduced me to it for the first time.
Oh, wow. How did your life change, or how much did it change when you met the quote-unquote connect, or your connect, Oscar?
Dramatically.
His name, yeah.
Dramatically.
And you fully say, what was his name? I'm sorry.
Oscar Danilo Blandon.
Okay.
Dramatically. I mean, my profit margin shot up. You know, I was able to get quantities that I wasn't normally able to get. The purity was, you know, 98%. So now I got the best product with the best price.
Did you feel like that was a string of luck, fate? I mean, when you look back at
I
this
used to believe
meeting, what was it?
that God had put me on earth to be a coke man.
Wow.
That's what I used to believe. Some guys believe that they were sitting here to play basketball. Or, you know how when they score a touchdown, whenever I make a score, I'll be like, thank you, God. You let my shipment come through.
Got it through.
Nothing happened again.
Jay-Z said you don't know that feeling when them things get across. You knew all about that, I guess.
Yeah, all about it. I knew the times when they was on their way, the sweat, and worry and all that went with it when I was waiting on it to hit. But then once it hit, I did it again.
So obviously you meet Oscar. You obviously at this point, just to put proper scope, you are someone that was at one point was illiterate. You have the will and wherewithal to
I was still illiterate at that time.
Still illiterate at this time, finds a way to find an industry that you could market and work for yourself.
Unbiased too. Unbiased, didn't care what color you was, were you illiterate, how much money you had. Because remember, I started in this industry with $125.
Wow.
So you didn't have to have no money to get started. I mean, all the other barriers that stood in my way in other businesses didn't stand in my way in this game. This was just so easy for me to walk in. It's like an open door, and all you have to do is just want it and then just go in.
So let's bring the story up to where we are now. You are in the mid-'80s. You have your own operation going. You became the dealer's dealer in Los Angeles, which is not a small place, and we all know that. I think at this point there was estimated you were making even $2 million possibly a day.
Sometimes
three. It's even been rumored or undocumented that up to $600 million you might have grossed in total. I mean, let me say that again.
Maybe in 2 years. Maybe in 2 years I did that.
So we're talking about over $1 billion probably grossed in the mid-'80s to the early '90s. Which is unbelievable in any industry, which is, like I said, unbelievable. Can you tell me about that experience going through that, business savviness of that? And as I used to hear stories, I'd hear for every key you would, distribute an ample amount to your community and your neighborhood because you knew that. So you were running your operation like a Fortune 500 company.
I had a program to say, for instance, because I knew how I got started. I knew I got started with $100. So I had a program to where it was a house that you could go to and spend that $100. Now, if you took that $100 and constantly reinvested it and then messed the money off, then you could go to another house and you could spend $600 and you get it just a little bit cheaper. Because what I had learned from my experience is that the more money you spend, then the cheaper the product gets. I figured that out. Yeah. I don't know how I figured it out. It just came to me. So I started using money as a leverage against my suppliers to get the price down. I would call them into a room and would show them $3 million sitting on the table and be like, you can get all that if you want it, but you got to go down on the price. So when I learned that, I didn't want my customers to use that against me. So what I did is I just gave it to them. You didn't even have to bargain for that. That was just yours automatically. Because I felt that if my suppliers would have been smart, they would have just gave it to me. And then I wouldn't have had to haggle with them. We would have just constantly grown. So what I did with my people was I just automatically added it in to the spot. So they could go here. Then when they get to 600, they go there. And you spend 600 2 or 3 times. Then you should move to this next house. And then so on and so forth until...
It's like a program.
Wow. And then my guys at the house would keep track of you, and when they felt you were right, they would take you to the next house and say, hey, you can start going over here and helping.
So at this point, you were, I coin it, the man. You get hit, pinched, whatever term they want to call it, you go to jail. I know you get out. And supposedly something happens, but can you tell me about you got out, kind of something happened?
I do 5 years, 5.5 years when I first bit. I forgot how I I know how I got caught. I was building a house, because I started building houses, I started a construction company. I started all kinds of
you owned, let's even say you owned a lot of business.
Hotel, body shop, car wash, tire shop, phone shop, shoe store, beauty salon, junkyard, apartments all over
Is it
South
30 or
Central.
40 properties around the city?
Yeah, at least that many.
Wow. And I'm just trying to set up the story of, lead everybody up. But what happened, when you were setting up to me, I had asked you kind of a broad question if you had went to jail and then you had got out. And I was kind of asking what had happened during the second time.
Okay.
Because I know it's said that.
Well, the first time I went to jail, two of my guys had we had set up shop in Ohio. Mm-hmm. What I found out is the price in Ohio was like 4 times what it was in. We already knew that it was 4 times as much in Ohio as it was in California.
Wow.
So since I could get a key in California for 10, I could take to Ohio and make 40 off of it. So we in Ohio, we worked for about a year, and I pack up, I leave, I'm through. I'm walking away from the game. Well, a couple of my guys, young guys that had with me, like 19 years old, they had just barely got a taste of the money. So what they did is they took their money that they made from me and went and invested it. And bought them some keys and said, man, Rick left all this clientele down here in Ohio, I'm going back and work it. So they went back and started working it and got popped and told on me. That's how I got popped the first time.
Okay.
Texas, a couple of my cousins got popped, their phone was tapped, they called me asking me for some drugs. I told them I was out the game, but the district attorney indicted me anyway and told my lawyer, you know what, we're just going to put him in trial with him, maybe he'll win.
And this was the first time?
This is the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it just went like that from case to case.
Yeah.
Louisiana, they come up with evidence.
Once they put you in there, they trying to keep you.
Right. So, but now the cops get indicted. In LA, they would have to set up a freeway task force.
Wow. Okay.
To get me.
So the cops the cops were indicted.
Right, the cops got indicted. Well, what happened, they were stealing money and planting drugs and the whole 9 yards, the freeway task force. So when they get indicted, they had assisted all these areas in their investigation on me. So our goal was to, okay, we're going to bring all these cops and put them on the witness stand and let the jury hear him get up and take the fifth.
Yeah.
And, the one cop who was cooperating with the feds, he's going to come in and say all these guys are lying, crooks, and stole money and whatnot. That was our plan. Well, what happened is the government come in and they say, look, we're going to make you a deal. Because when I was at MDC, I'm seeing all my friends, getting life sentences, 30 years. I'm like, wow, 10 years sound real good.
Yeah, that'll work. I'll take
I'll take 10. Yeah. So when I was trying to get the 10, they wouldn't give it to me. But then just one day out of the blue, they called me to court. They want to make the deal for the 10. I was like, I don't know if I want the 10 right now today. Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Let's talk about it. So we want you to take it today. So we wound up cutting the deal for 10. And if these cops got indicted, I would testify against the cops. Tell that they shot at me. I didn't have a gun. They planted the drugs on me that night. I didn't have drugs. They beat me in the head with flashlights, and that I didn't fight back, and that type of stuff. So they indicted these cops. They wound up cutting my time down. I wound up walking out in 5.5 years. Well, I'm out. As soon as I get home, Danilo calls me. Like a second day or so after I'm home. Oh, man.
This is the original Connect, Nicaragua.
Yeah. Oh, man, I got it good. You know what I'm saying? What's happening with you? What you doing? I know I was trying to put this theater together right here on Prince John Adams. I was trying to build a youth center.
Okay.
And he was, just getting in my head about, man, you asking these dudes to help you with that youth center. You don't need nobody help. Do your own thing. You know how you do it. You're your own man. And eventually, over a 6-month period, it got to me. And finally, I introduced him to one of my partners to buy some drugs that I would have been making a cut off of him buying the drugs. I was going to make like $300,000 off of the buy without doing no work, just for the introduction, just connecting them. Well, I get indicted for aiding and abetting. They called it broken the deal. I broke the deal. So when I got indicted, they gave me a life sentence. While I was in jail the first time, I started reading a little bit. That's when I read Malcolm's book. But I still was really weak on my reading.
When you got indicted for this second time, did you know that, or did you feel that this time around it was different from when they had indicted? Basically, the life sentence came.
Oh, I knew I was looking at life sentence.
It was okay. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Right. But yeah, I knew the law.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I had been in MDCLA and I saw guys getting it.
Okay. So you weren't like, I'm getting life, but I'm gonna somehow just do this. When you at the end of the day happened, you were like, oh man,
I'm through. I knew the day the helicopter came over my head and all the cops. When I saw the cops pop up, I come on their seats. You know how you lay down in the seats. When I saw them pop up, I knew that I was going to jail for life.
And I think now that we have given people understanding of what has happened, you're here, you're out, you've made it. Let's talk about what happened that got you out, and then we'll also transition to what's going on now, because you're doing some very big, powerful things. So why don't you tell us what happened in the midst of what stopped his life sentence?
Well, when I was in prison, first, I basically became a lawyer while I was there.
And you didn't testify against, it's important to note, any of your...
No, absolutely. No, only thing that I testified to was that the cops planted drugs on me, beat me up. When I didn't fight back, I was handcuffed at the time and let the dog bite me, and that they were lying on me.
Because it's important to note, I mean, many drug dealers, the Nicky Barnes, these quote-unquote stories, the legendary stories, most of these people snitched on their close counterparts. This guy, he didn't. He stayed true to his word of being loyal, and gotta respect that in any field. So, I can definitely appreciate that.
Thank you, because you know what? So many times that get misconstrued because people hear, well, man, Rick testified. Yeah, I testified to these certain elements of my case. You know, that I didn't have drugs this night. I didn't shoot at the cops like they said I did. What else was it? Did they beat me up while I was handcuffed? You know, so
yeah, sorry about that.
That's fine.
Yeah,
that's
just
cool.
Reliving it, I couldn't even imagine living through it. So I appreciate you opening up. You tell us how you got out. You were fighting. What happened exactly? Because a lot of people thought maybe that's what happened.
What they did is this case was only 100 keys. 100 keys of powder don't carry a life sentence. So what they did is they said, okay, well, Rick has been convicted in all these multiple states. What we'll do is we'll 3-strike him. So they went, instead of going with a continuous criminal enterprise or something like that there, because it was a break in my enterprise. You know, when I went and did the 5 years, I had no longer sold drugs anymore, so it was a break. It wasn't a continuous criminal enterprise.
So their law came to haunt them.
Right, so what they said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get him with the 3 strikes law. Because he got all these convictions. But what happened is I'd only been to jail one time in my life. I'd never been set free. So when they went and convicted me of the 3-strike law, I went in the books and I saw that in order to be a strike, that it has to be a conviction, go to prison, get out, and then commit another crime.
And you did this on your own. It wasn't a lawyer.
No, I found this. My lawyer argued furiously with me that I was wrong. The judge did. The judge I'm finna go see next month. She told me I was wrong. When I told her, I'm gonna come back and see you. I told her that.
And you proved him wrong. You did.
Yeah, she told me, oh, you said you was coming back.
And it shows you that, he's a very smart individual when he's telling judges and lawyers and folks, how to do their job. You're working with Nick Cassavetes on this biopic film. Tell us about this film and your energy and putting behind it, and what you really want to see come about this. Because this is big. And let me give you all this. Man, Nick in Hollywood, I know he's one of the biggest new writers, or I shouldn't say new. He's written The Notebook, John Q, The Blow, and that's one of my favorite movies of all time with Johnny Depp. So I mean,
Nick is major, and me and Nick hit it off. Nick found me when I was in.
I just gonna say he approached you.
Yeah, when I was in Hadley House, he flew to San Diego to see me.
Wow.
Him and Irv Gotti came down and hollered at me, so we hit it off. And he wrote the script. He slated to direct it. And really, what I'm looking for this story, man, is to really set the drug game straight. I want to lay it all out, what the dope game it really is, what it's not, what you can expect if you get in a drug game. Because I believe, if these kids don't have the whole truth, they can't make decisions. And I believe that a lot of times they're not giving us the whole truth. They're just giving us a piece of it. Like my partner didn't tell me that I was going to be looking at a life sentence one day. That I was going to have to walk in MDCLA and all my homeboys was going to be sitting in there, never coming home. When I left that prison, I left loved ones. So I want them to understand that this is also a part of what you're doing, and you ain't going to be smart enough to get away from it, because a lot of times, guys are under the impression that, oh, I'm smarter than him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about that kid that sees it and says, I'm not gonna just make that mistake he made? Or, better yet, I'm different. Or you know what? I don't care if I die or get shot or go to jail. I don't care.
Well,
what can you say to that kid?
When you have that I don't care attitude, there's really nothing you can do about him. Because he's made his mind up and he's fixed. But the ones who haven't made their mind up, that they don't care about going to prison, that they don't care dying, and then even those, you know, maybe you can get to him even.
Still
you know, we don't give up on them, but at the same time, you still have to put the message out there that what you believe is not what it really is. And that's what I'm hoping that my movie is gonna show the kids. You know, the dope game ain't what it really is. It's a trap from the start.
We've come up to this point now where, you know, we're all blessed to be where we're at, and you have a mission that you'd like to get out. What can the black community do to assist you to get that message out? And really, what is that message that we need to take home? I mean, please reiterate.
Well, the first thing that I would, and the most important thing, is to become critical thinkers. You know, once we get to the point where we can think for ourselves, and we don't need the TV, the radio, the announcers, and those people to think for us, then we're on the right track. Some of the things that I plan on doing for my community and for the world at large is create jobs. You know, I plan on becoming the biggest black trucking company in the United States. I started my own film studio, Freeway Productions, where I plan on doing multiple movies a year, where I want to give.
And is your biopic going to be part of this? Is it under the umbrella?
Yeah, the biopic will kind of be under the umbrella, but if not all the way.
The thing to launch it, if anything.
Right, it'll be the launch for it. You know, I see these other guys, you know, just doing things, you know, say it's like Tyler Perry's. You know, I don't particularly like the type of movies he does. Yeah. You know, I don't like the motto that they would know that a young black talent is out here trying to get on and nobody will assist him. You know, it's been really tough for me to get assistance from my own people. You know, I go to guys who you would think could just swab the pen and it would be a done deal, and they can't do it. I don't know if it's for a lack of power or not, but I want to diffuse all that. I want it to be where somebody in Hollywood really has the power, and if people really want to get behind me, you know, I really just need your support. I don't need your money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
so the best thing we can do is to, you know, stay tuned and just keep supporting what you're doing.
Educate yourself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If you're a film producer, a writer, director, you know, hit me up, freewayenterprise.com. Support my website. You know what I'm saying? With my issue that I got in court, you know what I'm saying? If you feel like shooting the judge a text, an email, whatever, a letter, you know what I'm saying? She's in San Diego. Her name is Marilyn Huff. You know, let her know what you've been hearing, I've been doing out here on the streets. And, you know what I'm saying? Educate yourself. Read my 3 favorite books. Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich, As a Man Thinketh. That'll definitely put you on the right track. And let's partner up. Let's do this thing.
Well, we appreciate you coming down.
I appreciate
you,
baby.
I mean, it's been a pleasure. The real Freeway Rick Ross here at the Los Angeles Sentinel offices in LA Watts Times. I'm Brandon Brooks, assistant editor. We'll be back.
Check it, I was once told this. There's only one way to survive in these streets of LA. Either aggressor or finesse. Which one are you? Don't get caught on the other side of the fence. Be all bad. I ain't no motherfucking lame. My papa taught me the game. At the age of 16, was taught to whip it to cane. You say you hustle, never seen a brick. We ain't the same. I know this shit killing our people, but we ain't to blame. I never gave a fuck. Woke up and got the bag. Little nigga did school with my pants sack. Burn the flash, jury flash.